Hello, and welcome to the Mentor webinar for the Junior National Young Leaders Conference and the National Youth Leadership Forum on Explore STEM. We're very excited to have you here and to be able to explain these two great middle school programs. Before we get started, I do want to orient you to this webinar. You will see that there is a Q&A function in your webinar panel. We do have people that are moderating the chat, and they're here to answer any questions that you might have about the programs or about the nomination process or anything else. So please feel free throughout the presentation to utilize the Q&A button and be able to ask any questions during the webinar. So now we'll show you a brief video clip that highlights both of these programs and allows you to see the scholars in action. So let's give a brief history on World Strides. World Strides started in 1967 to allow students to have educational travel experiences. Since that time, we have inspired more than 800,000 students from 150 countries. Students at our programs gain firsthand experience so they can make informed decisions about their future careers, as well as learning more about themselves. Under the World Strides umbrella are the Oxbridge Academic Programs, the Honors Performance Series, Rice Elite Technology, and Envision by World Strides. Speaking of Envision, for over 35 years, we've empowered extraordinary and high-performing students to discover their passion, explore a career, and positively impact the world around them. Now I'd like you to hear from one of our former nominators, Ricky Poitier. Ricky was an educator for 23 years for students from pre-kindergarten all the way to 8th grade. And not only was he nominating students to come to our programs, he also worked in Envision programs for almost 10 years. Ricky, you can take it away.
Thank you, Danielle. And yes, that was the highlight of my school year, coming to Envision programs for the summer and also nominating the students. It was a great way to let my students know that I was proud of them. And, it was always awesome to see the excitement in their faces when they would receive the nomination packet, because they would come to school and say, and what is this? Why did you do this for me? Why did you nominate me? And, I would answer their questions. And when they realized that I did it because I was proud of them and I thought highly of them, it made them feel special and it made them feel great. They were proud. And, many times their parents would also contact me and ask questions. So I would let them know what the purpose of it was and make them feel and understand that it's, it was a recognition. It was something to be proud of. So it was just a great way to recognize, it is a great way to recognize our students, your students, and let them know that it is something to be proud of. It's also a great way for them to learn many other things that they may not get the opportunity to learn, and gain confidence in themselves and just learn and meet many other children from lots of other areas. Okay. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you so much for sharing, Ricky. And also thank you for your contribution, not only for nominating students to come to our programs, but for also giving back as one of our staff members to be able to see that experience firsthand. I do see that we have some new people that have joined the webinar. I do want to again reiterate that there is a Q&A function in this webinar, and we do have moderators that are familiar with our programs and work full-time with our company that are standing by to answer any of your questions. At the end, we will have an open Q&A, but throughout this webinar, please feel free to ask questions, and we want to make sure that we can get to as many of those questions as possible. We're first going to start with Scholar Life, and these accommodations and safety methods that we will talk about are relevant to both of our middle school programs. Our students will reside in a university dorm with a roommate. We don't want this age group to be rooming by themselves, and we also feel that it's an important part of that college life experience to be able to share it with someone else. They'll also have their meals served in traditional dining halls. The safety and supervision of our students is the #1 priority. To that end, we maintain a student to staff ratio of 10:1, and our staff are available 24 hours a day to assist with anything that the students may need. There's also controlled building access. So anyone that wants to enter the buildings will need to have a key or some type of access card in order to enter the buildings. We have a health and safety team that includes a dedicated daytime nurse who will be on site to assess any medical situations. And we will also have an on-site program office. For those that want to come in person, that office will be open from roughly 8 a.m. until midnight. And we'll always have a dedicated 24-hour phone line. The first program that we're going to highlight is our National Youth Leadership Forum on Explore STEM. This program is for 6th through 8th graders that want to learn more about the STEM fields. We have a 6-day residential program for those students that want to reside with us overnight, a 5-day commuter program for those students that just want to attend the daytime activities, and an extended day commuter option for those students that want to attend both the daytime and evening activities, but do not want to reside overnight. Since 2014, Explore STEM allows for hands-on exploration and in-depth exposure of the STEM career fields. This program has expanded to 18 cities for summer 2024, allowing for a regionalized footprint. Some of these locations include Emory University in Atlanta, Loyola University in Chicago, the University of Denver, Occidental College in Los Angeles, the University of Miami, St. John's University in New York, Villanova University in Philadelphia, Northwest University in Seattle, and the University of Maryland in Washington, D.C. At Explore STEM, our students will hear from a former NASA astronaut that will discuss their experience being in space. One such speaker is Dr. Leroy Chow, who is featured on your screen. He's a former NASA astronaut and International Space Station commander who has logged over 229 days in space on 4 space missions, including 6 spacewalks supporting the International Space Station design and construction. To aid in the learning, we do hands-on simulations in 4 fields of STEM: robotics, medicine, forensic science, and engineering. They will employ all of these disciplines on their mission to Mars expedition. For the robotics simulation, they will use the design thinking process, programming techniques, and theories to both code and program a VEX robot. For our medical simulation, Envision has partnered with the Stanford University School of Medicine, Department of Emergency Medicine, to create an exclusive signature wilderness medicine workshop where students will explore critical care skills, including the proper use of splints and slings. With the forensic science simulation, students will work together using both forensic and investigative techniques to process crime scene evidence, such as fingerprints, footprints, and blood splatters. In the engineering design simulation, CAD software is used to create a three-dimensional design to build a habitat capable of sustaining life on Mars. They will then use that design to build a physical habitat prototype. And of course, we want to balance all of this learning with fun. It's important for students at this age to have free time to play and get exercise outdoors so that they'll remain more focused while they're learning with us. They'll also use the leadership skills that they learned inside the classroom and apply it to the team building activities outside. At this time, we'll pause before we transition to the next program. We do want to let you know that the nomination process is now open. You can utilize the QR code on your screen, which will take you directly to our nomination portal. We'll also be able to speak more about the nomination process later in this presentation. Finally, a reminder that we do have the Q&A function, and we really want to hear any questions that you might have. So please let us know what questions you have. We have a moderator standing by. They're able and willing to answer any questions that you might have. The next conference that we are going to highlight is the Junior National Young Leaders Conference. This is for middle school students that are within the ages of 5th to 8th grade. And it's a leadership development program, so they can learn more about each other. The Junior National Young Leaders Conference has been around for around 20 years. We've seen high satisfaction that starts at the 5th grade. And we know it's important to extend leadership programming to this age group because this is where leadership gets built. It's especially important to add the social experience and any learnings that they may have missed out on due to the pandemic. This program operates in 2 locations, Washington, D.C., and new for this year, they'll also be in Atlanta, Georgia. Speakers are a very important part of our program. For this program, students will hear from either Anthony Robles or Shante Lowe, both who are world-class athletes and will share how they overcame obstacles and reached the pinnacle of their professions. They'll also have an exclusive visit to the floor of the House, where former members of Congress will address the importance of leadership and dialogue. We'll also get them off the campus to explore different sites in their host location. For Washington, D.C., they will visit locations such as the Lincoln Memorial, the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, and the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. They'll also visit Mount Vernon, the former house of George Washington. Voices of Change is the culmination project that's being worked on throughout the week. As they work in groups, students will choose a topic that they believe presents a problem in today's society, and they'll develop an organization to help combat that problem. Using each team member's strengths, they will educate others and take action to combat the problem, hopefully continuing their project upon returning home. We are nearing the end of our webinar. So again, another plug to please ask questions to our moderators in the Q&A function of your webinar panel. No question is too small, and we really want to make sure that we answer any questions that you might have so you feel very comfortable nominating your students to come. Let's talk more about the nomination process. As mentioned earlier, the nomination process is now open. You can scan this QR code or go directly to envisionexperience.com/nominate to nominate now. You'll then type in your information or nominator ID if you have one, then type in the student's information. You can send the student package directly to the student's home address, or you can send it in care of to yourself and hand it to the student. If you have any questions about the nomination process, please reach out to our Office of Admissions, whose phone number is on this page. In addition to scholarships that we do give to students, we also provide students with different fundraising strategies. One of our most successful fundraising tools is the World Strides gift of education. Students can send e-cards or snail mail to their friends and family, or they can share their campaign on social media. Students have raised over $2 million through the gift of education, and 100% of the money raised goes directly toward the price of their trip. In addition to nominating students, we love to have teachers as staff members in the summer. As you heard from Ricky, it is a great opportunity to not only nominate students, but to be on site and see the transformation before your own eyes. It's also a great chance to work with other teachers, travel, learn new classroom skills, and earn some extra money, all while gaining valuable continuing education units. If you're interested in learning more about summer job opportunities, you can go to the website on our screen, and it will let you know when our application becomes open. So we're reaching the end of our webinar. Again, I want to thank you all for being present and listening to our presentation, as well as learning more about our middle school programs. If you have any questions about the programs, the nomination process, or anything else, please reach out to us directly at our Office of Admissions. That phone number is 844-546-3328. I'll now turn our attention to any questions that have been asked during this webinar. There's still time for you to ask questions. We do have our moderators that are patiently waiting by. They're ready to answer any questions that you have, but we'll see if there are any questions that we can answer over the air so everyone can hear from them. A big thank you to the moderators who have been answering questions through this session. We really appreciate you. Okay, let's see some of the questions that have been asked. There's a question here about the type of students that we're looking for our programs. So we're looking for students that are mature, are ready to meet other like-minded peers, and are interested in either the STEM fields or just learning more about themselves and how they can become a leader in their community. These students are high-performing, or they can be someone who you think has the potential to really do well by coming to our programs. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions. Okay, there's a question here about if students are able to keep in contact with their parents at the program. So yes, the students are able to bring their cellular phones to the program. Of course, we'll have dedicated time where they can bring those out. That not it does not disturb with their curriculum or the learning activities. So they can contact their families during our breaks or any of our meals, as well as at night before their room check. And then if the families want to get in touch with us as staff members, they can reach out directly to our program office and someone will carry around that phone 24 hours a day. So there's always a time where they can get in touch with our staff or their children. Additionally, we'll be taking photos throughout the programs and host it on a website and send the link out to the families. So if anyone wants to see photos of their child in action and see what they're doing, they can also be able to look there. Another question here about how rooming is set up and if it's by grade level. So that is correct. We room our students that are staying overnight by their grade level and also by their age. We know that sixth or fifth through eighth grade, there is a wide level of maturity and where they are in their life. And we want to make sure that we are keeping people within the same age group or the same year in school so that they will be able to better relate to each other. Good question. Okay, I'll wait and see if any more questions come in. Thank you to those that have been asking questions. We really do appreciate that. There's a question here about the different locations that we are running our programs, specifically Explore STEM. We know that there are 18 different locations to keep it more regionalized. So if you have any questions about the locations, you can go directly to our website, envisionexperience.com. And there's a drop down where you can look at the programs and just click on NYLF Explore STEM. And that will let you know all of the different locations as well as the universities where our programs are running. Okay, I see some people are typing now, so that's great. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. See, the questions are coming in a little bit slower now. So I'll just do another plug 1 more minute if there are any other questions that are being asked. Again, we really don't want you to sign off if you still have a question because we want to make sure you feel very comfortable nominating students and allowing them to come to our programs. There's a question here about if you get CE units for working our programs. So yes, we do provide continuing education units if you are working our programs. So that is really helpful, especially when you are thinking about your recertifying your credentials, or if you need a certain number of new units every year, we will help you get at least part of the way to being able to renew. Great. And there are some more questions here about what are some more in-depth activities that the students will be doing other than the ones that were covered during this webinar. So again, if you can go to envisionexperience.com and you can use the program drop down to either click on NYLF Explore STEM, or you can click on the Junior National Leaders Conference. And there are different tiles within each of those web pages where you can click on the actual simulations or workshops, learn more about the speakers that are coming. And not only will you be able to read about what's happening, but there's also photos from our previous summers where you can see the students doing those hands-on activities. So it's easier for you to visualize exactly what your student might be doing. All right, a last call for any questions. All right, so I'm seeing the questions are coming in much slower now, which is great. But for those of you that don't have any questions, we will go ahead and end that webinar. If there are any last minute questions, we'll hang on for another 1 or 2 minutes after just to see if we can answer any more. But I want to thank everyone for joining our webinar. We really appreciate it. Hopefully, this has made you feel more comfortable and knowledgeable about our middle school programs, as well as the nomination process. And again, if you do have any questions about that nomination process, feel free to reach out directly to our Office of Admissions at 844-546-3328. Thank you for all that you are doing to educate the next generation, and we look forward to receiving your nominated students, as well as hoping those students do come to our program in the future. Thank you again, and have a great day.